Hey there, this is a how's it holding up type video because it has been, I think, 18 months since I began to put this fine knife here to work. I got this knife when I used to live at my old house. I wanted I hadn't really had any really good pocket knives at all back then. I've since got some sort of classy ones like the Falconivens and the Spydercos and stuff. But I think I had this knife. I think the other knives I had before this were like Sanram News and things like that. So it was kind of my first. Oh, and I was a big multi-tool guy. Like I always carried the Skeletal. Skeletal's been with me for ages. This was the first kind of dedicated, really, folding knife that cost more than 15 bucks. It's still a very cheap knife, and the purpose I got it for was to just do hard work with. I knew I was getting a softer steel. This is 420 HC. But then I wanted something made by Leatherman because I like Leatherman as a company. I still do. I'd read reviews on it and heard that it was good quality. Heard it had nice, smooth action, which it does. Once you get the hang of it, it's yeah, just a really well spoken of knife. So this is the Crater C33. You've got a nice spear point blade shape there. And it has held up very well in response to the question posed in the video. I've taken it apart a couple of times and given it a good clean out. The thing that separates this knife from so many other knives that are this cheap is that it has a big fat set of bronze phosphor washers that are operating the blade pivot. So that makes it a really smooth operating knife, and it's not got crusty and it's not got slow, and you can really adjust the speed of it with the hex wrench and the pivot screw there, because the bronze phosphor just seems to give it a lot of leeway. Really good knife. Single thumb stud opening, but you can reverse the thumb stud if you want. Has a carabiner if you're into that, but I would just as soon they'd not put that on there and just save them a little bit extra weight. Not that it's a heavy knife. I guess you could use that as a bottle opener if you don't have another one in your everyday carry system. Or if it's your hiking knife, you could hang it off your pack, or hang it off your pack strap with an easy reach if you don't hike with pocket pants. Or if your sheath knife perhaps dangles over your pants pocket, making an EDC knife infeasible. So what do I like about the knife? I like that it was cheap. I like that it didn't cost me a great deal of money. I think cheap was probably the wrong word. It's high value is what everyone's saying these days. I like that it's high value. And then conversely, it's the type of knife where you feel a particular attachment to it. It's strange that it says I've got a lot of respect for it. It's talking about it like it's a person, but I've got a lot of respect for it because it has probably done more work than any of my other knives. Even some of my fixed blades, it's probably worked harder than my Moras and stuff. Because I still wear it every day at work. But yeah, if I lost it, I'd just buy another one and be like, oh well. And I'd spend another $40 and get another Leatherman Crater. I think I'll always have a Leatherman Crater or a similar sort of class of knife. Nice 3-inch blade, just under maybe 3-inch blade knife, full handle that you can get your whole hand around, which is good. So my pinky goes around the ends and I've got reasonable sized hands. With cheap materials that you're not sort of worrying about keeping super shaving sharp all the time. And because it's that 420 HC, I could just run it through my workshop and it's fine. Sure, the blades like stains a little bit from like where I've cut some. I think I cut some like really wet cardboard once, and it's just like left that mark there that just doesn't come off. This stone wash or the satiny sort of finishes really mark up, and it's hard to like get them unmarked. I think it's probably a bit of rusty stuff as well, oxidization, and these finishes are really bad for that. But that's fine. As I said, it's a cheap knife. So I like the blade shape. I like the price. The handle is a little bit cornery, but I think I've just gotten used to it. It's just a little bit pinchy, just here where your middle finger goes and meets it there. But I'm using it for single tasks, so I'll get my knife out, cut one thing, put it back, so I'm not hacking, really digging every day with it or anything like that. Sometimes you do, and you do kind of just feel a little bit of a pinch there. So I could probably, if I cared too much, I could probably just sand that myself and round them off just there, the scales. The line lock's been really good. There hasn't been any problems with the lockup. And the blade actually, yeah, you can get it really sharp, and it stays moderately sharp for probably a week or so, and then you sharpen it again. That's just kind of my use has been. So what I don't like about it, apart from those corners, I don't like the pocket clip that much. I would just as rather they had sort of one less of these screws. I wouldn't mind if they just trimmed it there and it went straight down from the middle two screws. It's really noticeable in the pants pocket, and it doesn't look like a pen. The best thing about some knife clips is that they just look like pens, so people don't lose their shit because they see you've got a knife. It's got a big clip that says Leatherman on it, so it's pretty obvious what it is. No one really cares that I'll work around, but it's probably the only bad thing about it. The superfluous carabiner is probably another thing I would do without, but I don't dislike it, I just forget it's there. It's got a weird action, you have to push it in and rotate it. If you just try and push it, you're just like, oh no, what have I done? So it's got like a different sort of lock there as well. But as far as how does it hold up, the Leatherman Crater, for such a cheap knife, I think everyone should get one. I know you can get those all stainless Sanran Mews, but they weigh twice as much as this. Even like your aluminum handled Ganzos and stuff like that, by the time you get them here, because they're all from Chinese sellers, the postage is probably going to be about $30. Spend an extra $10 and get an American made 420HC, not none of those Chinese junk steels, 420HC that's done right, smooth opening blade that I can testify has just lasted and lasted and lasted. So how's it hold up? Very, very well. Leatherman Crater C33.